All right, we'll get started here, guys. As you guys can probably tell, my voice is a little bit raspy. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm gonna do my best, show up as best as I can here. Didn't want to cancel the call. I think today's gonna be a really good one. I want to walk you guys through just the behind the scenes and how I manage my calendar, how me and my EA manages my calendar, right? I've been asked a lot from clients of just like what are the best practices around managing time, managing the calendar, right? And so me and my EA has a pretty solid process here, and so I want to walk through how we do it, right? And then I'll open up some space for any Q&A as well. So if you guys have questions around like how do we better manage our time, how do we better manage our week, how do we better manage our calendar? That's going to be the focus of today's uh, masterclass, I guess. Right. And so I want to start by going through what are the foundational things you need in order to have a super solid process for calendar protection and and a process for just weekly execution, right? Because this is going to be the key here. Is one, do you have a system that actually manages your calendar so that your calendar is a weapon for you and not a prison, right? It can be either or. For most people, it's either a prison for them, they're imprisoned by their own calendar, or for others who actually manages their calendar effectively, it becomes an amazing weapon that keeps you focused on work that you need to be focusing on, right? Or what we call here your zone of genius, all right, in Atlas. And so I want to walk you through the behind the scenes of how this works, right? But before we do that, let's talk about just the foundational things that you need, right, before you get to the place where you can build a solid calendar system, right? The first thing is you need to know what it is that you want to be protecting, right? And then the second thing is when do you want to be protecting it, right? And so we have a couple different exercises and tools here at Atlas, and I want to share a couple of them with you guys. But just before I dive in, just kind of quick question, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you guys managing your calendars right now? How satisfied are you guys with the way you're managing your calendar and your time right now? Amy says 9. Okay, amazing.
It could be.
What's your pro? Oh, go ahead, Jody.
I was just going to say it could be better. It's not horrible, but it could be better.
Could be better. Okay. 4, we leverage Google Calendar hardcore. Okay, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be diving into that. We use Google Calendar, and we have some frameworks that we use. We also have another tool that helps us to track Zone of Genius. So if this isn't something you guys are already tracking, right? Just, you know, first of all, you need to know what your Zone of Genius is, and then second of all, you need to be tracking it, right? Because, oh, we have someone joining in. I'll let you handle that, Nat. But yeah, okay, cool. Let's dive in. I'm gonna share with you guys. So the first exercise I want to go through is understanding what your zone of genius is. How many of you guys know what that is right now? If I asked you what is your zone of genius, how many of you would be able to answer that? Amy's just head of the class right now. Amy's like, I know exactly what it is. Jody, Rob, how about you guys? Alex, Jack, you guys know what your zone of genius is? You guys know
I
what the
should,
concept of
but
zone of genius is? Yeah,
I
okay.
should know, but I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
Should
so
know but
my
don't know.
zone of genius would be like mine is visionary. I'm a quick start. And so I do really, really well in that. The implementation, I'm a little lower on, but my best zone of genius is social media and video production.
Love it. Okay. Okay. So visionary work and creator, right? Being the creator. Amazing. Do you track how much time you spend in doing things that?
Have energy audits that we
Okay.
run, and we also try to make that so that between my um, VA, Angela Leah, that she has hers on a genius and she knows hers complements mine because otherwise
Yes.
we'd get nothing done. So she helps me on that side of things.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. You're gonna really enjoy the tool that we use now for tracking Zone of Genius. So every single week I can see exactly the percentage of my working hours that I spend in my zone of genius and every other zone, right? And me and my EA is on the call, Lamia, right? And so we're gonna go through how to use that tool, right, and how we use it. And it's up to you guys if you guys want to model after that or find your own way. But it's been extremely helpful for me to see week over week am I trending upwards or am I trending downwards? Right? If I'm trending downwards, right, I'm averaging about 40 to 50% Lamia week over week spent in my zone of genius. If it starts to dip down, then I know that I'm getting pulled into the day to day. I'm getting pulled into the fight or flight mode, or I'm getting pulled into firefighting, right? Then Lamia goes, hey, we got to optimize that, and we look for ways that we can start to increase that. Which basically means there's probably things that I need to be delegating or offloading off my plate right now, right? But unless you're looking at that from a week over week, you're just gonna get stuck in reactivity, and you're not gonna be proactive or even better, preventative, right? And so I want to give you guys the systems and the tools to be able to do that, right? Um, and if you guys are not just tracking your time, you're not tracking how you're spending your time, I really encourage that you guys start to do this, right? If you guys have EAs, I'm going to give you guys the playbooks that you can give to your EA so that your EA can set all this up for you, right? And this is the way we designed all of the playbooks in Atlas is through the 10-80-10 partnership model, meaning you are only responsible for the first 10%. I'm going to show you how easy that first 10% is. The rest of the 80%, your EA is going to implement that. And we've just built out all the playbooks that gives them the step by step to implement those 80%. And then the final 10% is you guys come back together, you guys review, you guys refine, you guys optimize. Right? I'm going to show you how quick and easy that 10% is, first 10% is, right? And I just want to come back to like really the importance of tracking and tracking your time, right? Because like it's funny. I was on a call with a friend who actually I'm going to be bringing in for a guest workshop in a couple, I think next week or a couple weeks here. Well, I'll have Nat confirm that. He's going to do a workshop around he coaches other executives and CEOs and founders around productivity, right? And so he's going to do a workshop around that. And there was something he shared with me that was really funny, right? He's like, he asked me, if I knew what I was doing last week at this time, right? I'm like, yeah, I do, right? But he's like, okay, well, most executives don't, right? And the analogy he used around that is, let's say you guys had a very special, meaningful gift, and you gifted it to me, right? This could be an heirloom, this could be just something that's super meaningful to you, and you're just so grateful for me that you just gifted this to me, right? And then next week, you come back and you go, hey, Colin, where's that gift I gave you? And I go, I don't know. I don't know where I put it. How would you feel? Yeah, right. It wouldn't feel good. You had something super meaningful. You gave something super precious to me, and I have no idea where I put that. Right? Kind of a slap in the face to you. Right? Now, for executives, for entrepreneurs, for founders, for CEOs, you guys are constantly talking about the importance of getting back your time to so you can focus on doing the right thing. Well, God, creator, universe gives you 24 hours every single day. If I asked you what you were doing 3 days ago at this time, and you go, I don't know, Colin, some sort of work, kind of a slap in the face to God, creator, universe, right? That's the same way, right? I hope you guys are seeing that point, right? The importance of like the paradox of you guys constantly, everyone is trying to be more productive, get shit done, get more done, right? Buy back your time, want more freedom. And yet at the same time, if we are not tracking our time and our energy intentionally, it's kind of a slap in the face, right? And so a little extreme, but I hope that helps anchor in the importance of this. Okay, let's dive in now. I'm going to walk through a couple exercises with you guys. First one, and this will be helpful for those of you that don't know what your zone of genius is. We're going to take a stab here at starting to identify what that is. Right. And so what you guys are going to start to see over the next couple of weeks and the rest of the year and next year as well is we're going to be rolling out a bunch of these playbooks to you guys. Right. We have a ton. I have a lot. So if you look here, I have second brain playbook, role clarity, operating rhythm, executive rhythm, calendar management, level 10 live, EA performance management, inbox management, travel management. Put together a lot of playbooks for you guys. All the playbooks will follow a very similar format, 10, 80, 10 partnership. You just need to focus on understanding the framework of each playbook and the 10%. The rest of the playbook you give to your EA. Your EA is going to go and implement all of this for you. All right, that's how we designed it to make it super simple. You focus on your 10%. I'm going to show you what that first 10% looks like. So this one is the Zone of Genius playbook, right? It's all about how to help you identify what your zone of genius is, right? Extract that out, create a plan to optimize for your time spent in it, create a system to build that into your calendar to protect your zone of genius time, right? Like every single week, Lamia looks into my calendar. She knows what my zone of genius is. She knows what tasks I need to be working on that's aligned with my zone of genius. She time blocks that in there and she protects that. She protects that. Anyone that wants to book anything over that, she won't allow it. Right? Sometimes I want to move things and she won't even allow it, which is good. This is the whole point, right? The whole point of having an EA is so that they manage me, right? Right. And so, yeah, and so you can't create a calendar protection system, calendar defense system, until you know what it is that you want to be protecting, right? And so you'll need to do this initial exercise of identifying what your zone of genius is first. And so, how does 10% works? I don't need you guys to like fill out an entire worksheet or spend a couple hours in discovery and everything. It's super simple. You pull up any voice recorder or any voice to text app that you guys are using. You guys all use the voice to text app? Everyone use the voice to text app? If you don't, it's a game changer. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me know. Yes, no? Anyone? No section of my phone. Which voice to text do you recommend on PC? Oh dear. Okay. None of you guys use a voice to text app?
Whisperflow.
Yes, yes, that's the one I use. Whisperflow. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Otter, I think Otter is a transcription. I'm not sure if they have a voice to text. Maybe they do. I haven't seen it in a while. But yes, Whisperflow is probably one of the best ones. There's a couple others, Aqua Voice or something like that. Whisperflow should be on PC as well. Yeah. It is absolutely a game changer, right? So, you install it onto here and you just hit the shortcut key, you talk into your mic, and then it'll transcribe and organize the yeah, all of that into clean text for you, right? Just productivity hack, right? So either a voice to text app or you pull up a voice recorder, right? What I've done in all of these playbooks is give you guys prompts to think deeply and extract your knowledge, right? Your context. And then your goal is to voice note that, right? Or voice to text it and then give it to your EA. Your EA will handle the rest, right? But the key here in the 10-80-10, right, is you need to set the vision, the direction, the context, right? And this is the exact same formula for how to delegate effectively. This is why we organize the playbooks in 10-80-10, is so you guys create the behavioral pattern of, okay, if I want to delegate anything to my EA, delegate anything to any team member, or delegate anything to AI, I need to be good at doing my first 10%. Because if you can't do your first 10% effectively, your chances of getting the successful output from your delegation is much lower. You want to guarantee that you get the output that you want. You need to put in your work of doing the first 10% of any type of partnership. Again, with your EA, with other team members, or with AI, right? You go to AI, you give it a simple prompt, it's going to give you some random output. You go to AI, you give it a very intentional, curated prompt with the context, with the definition of done, with what you want. All of a sudden, the output is way better. The same applies with any type of delegation. And it's so funny. It's this simple, and yet I see so many executives, founders struggle with delegating. And so that's why we created these playbooks in the 10-80-10 model. It's to help you guys create that pattern. Okay, I'm rambling. Let's come back to this, right? Again, I've put out some prompts here for you guys to start to think about. You just pull up your voice recorder or voice to text and you just answer this. Don't overthink it. Let it flow, right? And just answer the questions. whichever questions, you don't have to do all of them, just answer enough of them until you feel like, okay, I think I provided enough context for my EA to go and then transcribe and extract, right? And we've given your EA AI prompts to use, so they're not sitting there listening to it and manually extracting things, right? Because they'll have an AI prompt that they can run your voice transcription through and extract out the key patterns, and then they're going to create your genius blueprint, right? So a very clear blueprint of what is your zone of genius, what falls under your zone of excellence, zone of competence, and zone of incompetence, right? I'm not going to go super in depth with it because I imagine most of you guys understand the four zones already, right? And I believe Zion did do a workshop around this in more depth already, right? But this it's as simple as this, right? And so I'm going to have you guys do this right now, right? I want to make sure you guys walk away from this workshop with just some implementation already done, because I want to show you guys how easy it is to do this first 10%, so that you do not come back to me and give me excuses of why my EA does not have what they need to go do the things to become an amazing EA, to go and help you reclaim your time, to help optimize your calendar so you guys can be spending way more time in your genius. All right. So I'm going to have you all mute yourself on Zoom, open up your voice to text, open up your voice recorder, right? I'm going to highlight, you don't have to do all of them. I'm going to highlight some of the top questions for you guys to do here. So do that one, this one, this one, and this one. If these are the only four you did, there'll be enough context there. So I'm going to shut up. All right. I'm going to give you guys the next just 3-4 minutes. Pull out the recorder, record, answer those prompts there. All right, so hopefully you guys can wrap up your voice notes. And if you're not done, don't worry. I'll Nat will share the link to these playbooks for you guys. And you're welcome to go as deep as you want into this, right? You don't have to answer just those four questions. You want to go through every single question, you can do it, right? The more context, the more context you provide there, the more your EA is going to understand, right? What really energizes you and what are your traps, your energy traps. That way they can better protect and manage your time and your energy for you, right? And so what's going to happen after this is you go and you send this to your EA now, right? And your EA is going to go through their 80%, right? So they're going to extract this out, and there's a prompt in here that's going to help them extract it. They're going to conduct a calendar audit for you, right? And we're going to show you how to use this tool. And after this workshop, we're doing a workshop with EAs, so with your EAs, if they're attending that, right? And we're going to show them exactly what to do, right? And so you just need to go and send them that voice note and that context, right? And they're going to start to do everything in here to start to track and optimize for your zone of genius, right? There's one more exercise I want to go through with you guys, right? So the genius one helps you identify what to protect, right? Now, the next exercise is going to show you when to protect it, right? Because you can give everything there and they can know what to protect, but if they don't know when to protect it and when to put it into your calendar, right, then that's not going to work, right? And so I want to show you guys, like, here's what my calendar looks like. Right, color coded based on my zones, right? Very clear. Everything, there's no overlap, right? Everything that's important is just protected. Everything's optimized for my energy levels, right? I want to start my morning with some thinking time before I go into any of the meetings, right? Consistent lunch times, right? When my genius blocks are, so that I can work on the things that are within my zone of genius, right? When my personal commitment time is Friday is my birthday, so my EA already blocked off half the day for me to go and spend with my partner, right? And so like I didn't have to mention anything. I was planning to work the entire day, but it's things like this that the more context that you provide for your EA, the better they're going to be able to protect and manage your time, right? So thank you, Jody. All right, so week over week, it's just always protected, and we have a rhythm every single Friday we hop on and I'm going to talk about how to do this, right? You can set the system up, but you have to maintain it. And I'll show you how me and Lamia maintains our calendar system so that every single week, my time is just optimized for my zone of genius and for my energy levels, right? And we'll show you the cool tools too, because you can see in these tools, you can see the tag for the different zones, and you can also just track the energy levels as well, right? And then you get some solid, cool reporting at the end of every week, so you can just see what your week looks like from a perspective of how much time you're spending in each zone and what your energy level was throughout the week. And you can just keep optimizing for that, right? So to do that, the second part, once you know what to protect, the second part is to define when to protect it. Alex, yes, 100%. Yeah, we are going to share these links. And you know what, like, Nat, you can probably just start sharing them in the chat. That way everyone can just access it. All right, so the Zone of Genius playbook and the calendar management playbook. So again, 10, 80, 10, right? You focus on your 10%, your EA will handle the other 80%. So your 10% when it comes to calendar management is two things. One, defining what your top priorities are, right, for the next quarter, right? And so we're creeping up at the end of this year now. Are you guys clear? What are your top priorities for Q1? Right? In our world, we're calling this the big three, right? And we have a separate playbook that breaks you down. I did a session on this before around getting clear on your goals and breaking it down to your big three top priorities each quarter, right? When you know what that is, you share that with your EA. Now this becomes the North Star for how they manage your calendar, right? So your calendar should reflect you achieving your big three, your top priorities, right? If you aren't clear on what this is and you don't communicate this to your EA, how are they going to be able to help manage your time and your energy to achieve these, right? You're going to come towards the end of the quarter and you'll be like, damn, I didn't achieve it. Why? Well, it's because you didn't prioritize it. You said you're going to prioritize it, but your actions did not reflect your intentions. And this is important. Intention is important, but action is even more important, right? And the most important thing is alignment between action and intention, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, very good with setting the intention. They're great at planning. They'll plan these goals, they'll plan these objectives, OKRs, rocks, whatever it is, but their actions don't align with their intentions. All right. And so that's the gap we want to fill here. And we do that through your EA and through systems. All right. And so I want to share with you guys that, some of those systems today and how your EA can implement that. So the next voice note I'm going to have you record here. So for another, 3 to 4 minutes here is defining your ideal week, right? And so what I want you to do is just pull up your calendar. So you can kind of pull it up. I'll do this side by side here. All right, so pull up your calendar, right? Don't look at mine. You can pull up yours. I'm just showing you like how I would do this, right? I would pull up my calendar so I can see the actual time and everything. And then I would go and just again record a voice note here explaining and defining what my perfect week looks like, right? So I absolutely must protect these time for family, for exercise, for thinking, right? So I have my workout times Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 5 to 6. I have my workout accountability partner. This is fine. I do not work past 5 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, right? So my EA protects those time now so that I don't overwork and then not make it for my workout, right? Any family time that you have, any non-negotiables that you have, you want to start to define what those are, and you just brain dump everything or verbal vomit everything into a voice note, and then you go and you give that to your EA, and they will be able to extract that. And again, we have given them AI prompts to help them extract that to make it really easy for them, right? So, when you're not available for, when you like to start work, I start consistently every single day, right? I end pretty consistently every day, right? My work rhythms, right? When is my energy level the highest? When is it the lowest, right? What are the meetings that I should be on? What's the default length of meetings? So if team members want to hop on a meeting with me, what's the default length, right? Maybe they want 60 minutes, but my default is 30 minutes. It creates a forcing function for them to be concise, to get to the point, right? So that they're respecting my time and that I respect their time, right? And so all of this, all your preferences and all your requirements and needs for you to design your ideal week, you want to just share that all in a voice note, right? Another model you can use that I really like is maker time versus manager time. Maker time is the time that you're spending in deep work, in creating, strategizing, visionary work, writing, solving complex problems. Manager time is all the admin stuff that, as a business owner, you're required to do, right? The team meetings, right? Reviews of your, team's deliverables, right? Checking Slack and emails and stuff like that. Well, hopefully you're not checking email and that your EA is handling all of that, right? And so maybe coming up with a clear manager versus maker time structure, right? I used to follow this before, right? When I didn't have my EA manage my calendar, I had very clear maker time versus manager time. Now it's less, for more or less, I think most of it's like I typically don't do any meetings on Wednesdays, except for the coaching calls that I do today, right? But aside from that, like usually my Wednesdays are like no team meetings or anything. It's my maker time, right? I spend that time creating deep work, coaching, training, right? So I'll pause there. I'm gonna shut up again. I'm gonna, if you can, Matt, if you can just share this link here, I'll just share this for you guys.
The link is defaulted to Atlas Assistant, so I asked Lamia to change it.
Got it. Here, I'll drop that one in there for you guys. So you guys can just hop into the executive 10% there and just, again, I'll mute myself. You guys record that voice note, share everything you need to share, provide all the context you need to provide, and then I'll talk about next steps. Okay. Hopefully you guys can wrap up that voice note. And again, if you want to add more, you're welcome to add more context. Yeah, the more context you provide here, the easier it is for your EAs to then go and build out your calendar system and to protect your time, right? And that's their, one of their most important roles, right, is to protect your time, right? But again, I can't emphasize enough of it because I see this, this all the time, right? Executives will, they want more time, they want to be focusing on the right things, but they just don't have the system in place, but they also haven't provided enough of the context for their EAs to know what and when to protect things. All right. And so the two foundational things, one, you need to define what your zone of genius is and everything that's outside of that. Right. And then two, your preferences and what 10 out of 10, a 10 out of 10 ideal week looks like. Provide those two contexts, right? Then the rest will be up to your EA to then go and build out the calendar system, right? Which I'll hand it over to Lamia, my EA, to kind of share from an EA's perspective what they're doing and how she's handling and managing my calendar and tracking my zone of genius. Right, I can share, but reality is she does all of that, so it probably makes more sense for her for you guys to hear it from her. So Lamia, I'll hand it over to you if you're ready.
Yeah, thank you, Colin. So, hi everyone. I will be walking you today through how I manage Colin's calendar in multiple ways, whether it's color coding or using cool tools to just get the best reporting. I'll start by sharing my screen. Oh, spoiler. No, we're going back to the calendar. So, as you can see here, I have the full calendar in front of me. It's all of it is color coded as Colin has shared. But let's dive deeper in what I'm doing. Like when it comes to these color coding, it's not happening randomly. Like we have set categories. On the side here, we have very specific categories that are based on Colin's workflow, the kind of work he does. We have strategic work, personal time, team meetings, coaching calls, leading and learning and development, product, family and friends, and operational tasks. Now, we can see some insights here from this side, like the number of hours he spends on each of these categories, but it's not really clear. Like we have the color coding, we have the tasks, but can you really get, like at a glance, can you know how much time you're spending in each of them, how much time you're spending in your zone of genius, what tasks do you like and what tasks you don't like? So what do we do is that these are the reports that Colin gets at the end of the week, his zone of genius, zone of excellence, and he gets reports with his energy levels. So how we do that is that we have a very cool tool called Time Tackle. After we log into this tool, we can do many things. The first thing that we can do is that we can choose the properties or tags that we want to see. Like for Colin, he sees his zone of genius and his zone of excellence. Zone of genius is the work that energizes him, the things that make him feel like, hell yes, I want to do this. His zone of excellence are all the things that he does that drive the team and the company forward, but they kind of like drain him, not the things that he enjoys most. There are other zones like the zone of competence, zone of competence, but as of now, like we're reached a point where we want Colin to spend as much time possible in his zone of genius, and that's why we're tracking these two zones. So after logging into this tool, I have created two tags for him, his zone of excellence and his zone of genius, which it will do for you, obviously. And then we have the energy levels. So I want to track his energy levels. What makes him feel energetic would be 3. What drains him and wants him like he's dying would be -3. So this is how we track energy levels. Now that we have all the properties and the tag, I would go on the calendar, and for each one of his tasks, I will tag it. Is it zone of genius? Is it zone of excellence? Is this like 3? Is this energy level 2? Is this 1? So I would go over everything. And I like doing this manually. You do have automation, but this is great for your EA to learn about what you're doing, to spot if things are not going well. Now that everything is tagged, we go to the insights, and now we can have all our tags show here. We have everything tracked by hours. So this week, November 24th to November 28th, Colin has spent 46% of his time in his zone of genius with the hours. He spent 28.9 in his zone of excellence. The rest is intact. So these are things like personal time, could be learning and development, and things that we're not really targeted right now. But at a glance, he can see the number of hours he zone of excellence. Okay, 28%. How can I reduce this to 25 next week? So I would go in here. Okay, what is the zone of excellence? What can we reduce? What can we cancel? What can we delegate? We can also use the tool itself. So for you and your EA during your one-on-one, we have the timesheet. So you can filter and look at everything in detail. Let's say I want to see zone of excellence because I want to get rid of as much as possible. Your EA will filter it for you during your one-on-one, and you can take a look at all the zone of excellence things, all the things that you're doing well, you as an exec are required to do, but it's not the things that you want to do. So you can look at their duration, and you can start eliminating, delegating, and your EA will guide you through this. So by the time you go back here, it's going to look great. It's going to look mostly green, and it's going to look more of your zone of genius. Same thing for your energy levels. Since all your tasks, all your time is blocked, now you have all your energy levels. So apparently Colin spent 20% at 3. He spent 27 at -1. So we need to do something about that. And these cool reports, you can have them every week. If you want to look back at the past week, you can just how much you spent last week. So Colin was at around 28% for that week. It depends on the time. You can choose custom days. So you can get full reports about how you've been doing and just fully understanding how you're spending your time. And this has been a great tool, and I think all your EAs would love to do this. It's better than doing energy audits like manually, and it's just automated, it's clear, it's cool, and we've been loving it. And if you have any questions, I will answer them for you.
Thank you, Lamia. That's amazing. Yeah. What do you guys think? You guys feel this would be helpful? Did you guys have this system installed for you?
So I'm
It's-
confused. Sorry, Robert, did you want to go?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So do you tag, so are each of those areas already tagged with the energy, or do you have to do that? How are you doing that?
So I would go in the calendar. Now I set my properties. For me, I have 2 properties. We have the tags, which are zone of genius and zone of excellence. And then we have the energy level, which are the numbers. And then when I connected it, this is obviously have the Google extension. So this is the technical part. I install the Google extension, and now my calendar is fully connected to it. I'll click on any task, and now I will find this section, tags. I can choose zone of genius, zone of excellence. It's a a drop down. Same thing for energy level. I can change this. Is it -2? Is it -1? So I would do this manually. There are automations that you can set from here. So you can go here, automations. An event is created. And if this event, let's say you can choose a word. Oh, this is the, okay. If title contains meeting, then what would you do? Then add tag, zone of excellence. So now moving forward, whenever any event that's created that has the word meeting in it, it will be automatically tagged here as, let's say, zone of excellence. So this is what happens. But for me, I do it manually. So tag in zone of excellence, zone of genius, will tag the energy levels, because as an EA, it helps me having like a general idea of how Colin is doing, what things I need to delegate, when, like the red flags, I catch them early on when I'm tagging it myself.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're the
This
one that's
is-
tagging it. Got it.
Yeah. And then my role in this is to reconcile, right? So at the end of each day, right, before I log off, I'll look at my calendar again and I'll look back in the day, right? And I'll reconcile. If there's certain meetings that, maybe she had tagged that it was very elevating for me, but really that meeting wasn't, then I can go and reconcile that, right? And then let her know. And then now she knows that moving forward, these type of meetings are low energy level for me. And so we should probably either get it off my plate, right? Or sometimes I'll have her attend a meeting on my behalf. And then she can just then give me the report or report back to me on anything I need to know from that meeting. All right, so there's a little bit of a tag teaming that happens here, right? But you want to start with providing your EA with all the context they need first, right? And I've provided enough of the context that Lamia can pretty much manually, track my energy levels because she understands me enough, right? But maybe there might be some scenarios where, hey, this meeting used to elevate me, but now it doesn't anymore. The meetings have started to become less productive, or maybe there's a certain task that it used to energize me, now it doesn't energize me anymore, at least not in this season right now. Right, then I can go and reconcile that the same way you would reconcile your books, right? So that's kind of the back and forth play that we have here, so that Lamia is consistently updated on how to best manage up and manage my time and my energy for me. Any other questions? Red, I think you had something.
Yeah, I might have too many questions, but I'm going to pare them down. Okay. Number one, why don't you use the Google time tracking compared to the other tool?
Yeah. Analytics. I think the time tracking tool has just way more analytics and the ability to just add more different fields and different fields to track, right? If you guys want to keep it simple, let's say you don't want to go as in depth as I have it right now, 100% you can just stick to Google Calendar, right? There's a couple ways to do it. Let me pull up the calendar. Is you can do color coding systems, right? Yeah, you can have color coding systems, right? Another way is you can set up separate calendars for each color coding system. So you can just toggle certain ones on and off, right? And then either way you do it, you'll have some insights. But again, the insights is pretty limited in terms of what you get here, right? There's just like, I can't add tags or anything like that. I can just add that, but there's no way I can add in like energy levels, right? And so I like the time track ones, and there's automations that we can set up there as well, which is really helpful, right? But again, up to you, depending on, do you want to keep things super simple? You want to keep it simple? This works just as well, right? You want something more complex, right? But more nuanced and, has more details and everything, and like the tagging, the energy level, then time trackle.
Okay. And number two is, seems like you have everything here. I have a few different calendars for different things. Like for the incubator I work at, I've got a calendar for that. Do you sync multiple calendars all together? Because it looks like even you have personal stuff on there, like workout. It looks like you're working off one master calendar. Best practices around that.
Yeah, I try to keep things as synced as possible. So I have two calendars. One is my business one, and then one is my personal one, right? And I just keep it to those two, right? I would even go as best as you can, consolidate things into one and just have more categorization, right? The exception is if you're running multiple businesses and you do need to keep things separate, then that's totally fine. You'll just have to work around that, right? But as best as you can, it's better to just keep everything in one calendar, right? Then it's easier for your EA to manage as well.
Does time trackle, will that pull in multiple calendars so it has like a master view there?
Lamia? That's it.
Yeah, when you log into Time Tackle, it will ask you to for your calendars if you wanna like sync more than one. So yeah.
Okay. So that might be the best book of record right there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions, guys? One more thing. Hopefully this call was helpful. Where is it? Maintenance. So you have the process to extract the context, right? Through Zone of Genius, through your ideal week. You provide that to your EA. Your EA now has the implementation guide to set up your calendar system, right? There's more nuances to it. There's more best practices and tips and everything we share in the playbook, right? That they'll go into. Once the system's there, now it's about how do you actually maintain that week over week, day over day, right? And so we have another playbook here. We have lots of playbooks for you guys. I hope you guys are excited, right? It's been super fun putting these together. This is the weekly execution rhythm playbook, right? It helps you and your EA set up a day over day, week over week system and rhythm, right? So that you can keep maintaining and integrating everything else you're learning in all the other playbooks, right? How this framework works, four simple bookends, right? End of week, start of week, end of day, start of day, right? Create your rituals for these four checkpoints, align with your EA, and this keeps everything moving, right? And so we share, examples of what I would recommend, and this is the framework, Lamia and I use, right? So we line up all our one-on-ones. My one-on-one with Lamia, we line it up on Fridays, right? Why? Because it serves two purposes. One, I get to do a one-on-one with my EA, and then two, we get to do weekly planning, right? Here's an agenda of how we typically do it. We'll start off, quick connection, right? Energy check, personal connection, right? See how we're both doing. Then we review my week, right? We go, okay, this week, did I complete my sacred six? You guys have no idea what that is. That's part of the strategic planning, right? We have a playbook that we've shared with you guys on how to take your big three, which is your top three quarterly priorities, and then you break that down into what are the six things you're going to do each week that contributes to that. And we track that week over week, right? So every single week, I'm clear on what my sacred six tasks are, right? They should be pretty much, most of them should be aligned with my zone of genius, right? Lamia time blocks them into my calendar, as you guys can see, right? So we'll review, we'll check in and be like, okay, how much of this did I complete? All right, 4 out of 6, great. 5 out of 6, awesome. 6 out of 6, we're winning now, right? We'll celebrate the wins. If I'm behind, if I'm just like, oh, I only completed 2 out of 6, we'll go, okay, what happened? Right? What happened? What do we need to change? Right? And then we'll reorganize my calendar so that I can make sure that next week I'm catching up, right? And I'm completing 6 out of 6 of my sacred six tasks, right? That directly contributes to my big three quarterly progress, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what your executive partnership is all about. It's about helping you achieve your goals, right? Yes, we trained your EAs to do inbox management, calendar management, task management, all of these other things, right? And they're going to do all that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing here is, are they freeing up your time and your energy so that you can reallocate that towards achieving your goals? Because if you're not doing all that, everything else doesn't matter, right? And so we start with that in our one-on-ones. We check in. Am I progressing on my goals or not, right? How do I know? Am I actually achieving? Is there completion rate of the tasks that I'm supposed to be achieving, right? Is it in my calendar? If it is, am I doing it? If I'm not, why? right? What's getting in the way? And then we plan for next week, right? And we pull up my calendar, we review it, we optimize for it. We go, hey, get me off that meeting. I need more time to work on this thing, right? Or that meeting, can you attend that for me, right? Or this time block, please protect that, right? We will work on my calendar together. We pull it up, we work on it. It's clear. That way I hop into the weekend feeling good, knowing that Monday morning I'm ready to jump in and I have a super clear plan already. I don't have to think, what am I doing this week? Right? It's all pre-planned, right? All pre-organized. My EA is super clear on how to protect that week for me, right? And then we dive into the tactical things, right? And so my EA gives me the updates on what things I need to know, any blockers or support that she needs, right? So that I can unblock her, and then we give each other two-way feedback, right? So that we can keep developing our partnership together, right? And so end of week, that's what we suggest is you line up your one-on-ones toward the end of the week. It doesn't have to be Friday. If your end of week is Thursday, do it on Thursday. That's totally fine too, right? But having some sort of end of week weekly planning system in place. That's part one, right? Part two, and again, give this playbook to your EA and they can set everything up for you, right? Is your start of week. Now we go into Monday morning. I come in, my EA drops me a report and goes, here's what you need to focus on this week, right? We're super clear on it. I'm super aligned. We just dive right in. There's no planning needed on Monday morning, right? I'm just super clear already, right? We do a daily stand up every single day, right? Our stand up is basically our start of week, start of day, and then we have our end of day, right? End of day, we synchronize asynchronously, right? And so every start of day, she sends me a report before I hop into my start of stand up, right? So I can see the report, I check the report, right? Anything else that I need to delegate or offload, I'll keep that in mind. We'll hop into our daily stand up. I'll delegate that to her, right? We'll align on things. If there's certain things she needs my attention on, if there's certain decisions that I need to make, I make those decisions, give it to her. She moves that along, right? And then end of day, then she just sends me a report on where things are at, right? And if there's anything new, if there's any new updates that came up, any blockers that came up, right? I'll look through it and I'll be like, okay, if it's something I need to address now, I will. Otherwise, I'll be like, defer to tomorrow's start of day, right? And that's our rhythm: SOD, EOD, SOD, EOD, SOD, EOD. Very clear rhythm all the way through. End of week, we have an end of week weekly planning, plan the entire week ahead, right? We consistently stick to these four components. I know I rushed through that because just for the sake of time here, but again, we'll give you guys these playbooks, right? Your job, focus on your 10% tab. Your EA will go through the whole playbook and focus on the implementation, which is in their 80%. Questions?
Amy has a question.
Yeah.
My EA sends me SOD, midday review, EOD, as well as EOW from her in our Discord channel. Is there a better way for these to be shared?
The best way is the way that you will check. Right? Whatever way that you will check is the best way.
I check them. It's just, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with Discord, and it's like just
Yeah.
a running thing, and it's like overwhelming. And then we tried doing Google Docs, and then we tried it via email, so I could just open an email. And then we tried it a couple different ways, and I'm just like, I don't look at them because it's overwhelming. And so I'm trying to remedy that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll share what we use here. We use Notion. So every day, Notion and Slack, right? So Slack, Lamia will put together an SOD, an EOD, and that's in Notion. And I'll share with you what that looks like. And then she sends me the link on Slack. So in Slack, I just hit that link, I open it up, and then now I have my SOD. I go into here. She puts in my action items. So this is what I'm working on today, right? Any meetings that I need to know of, right? Anything I need to prep for. She shares updates and confirmations, what she's blocked on, and then her tasks. And end of day, she'll do the same thing, except this gets turned into a checkbox and I mark it. Here, let me see if I can pull up a EOD one. And this is like this hack has been really, really helpful, so I recommend this. EOD. So she puts in the tasks that I was supposed to do today, and I check mark it if I completed it. If I didn't complete it, now she knows that it needs to be rebooked into my schedule and rearranged in my calendar. If it's marked completed, great. She goes in, she updates my task management board. So I don't have to ever go into my task management board and like update statuses of certain things, right? She will just, based on here, will know that I completed it. If I haven't, that means she needs to allocate more time for certain things, right? And that's kind of our system, right? Again, we can share what we works for us. You, the best system is the system you will use.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's 1,000%, 11 billion% honestly true. And so we've kind of worked together for a couple of years now. And I think she's learned my mannerisms and my attention, zone of genius, focus.
Hmm.
So I think we should revisit Notion. I had a hard time with it when we first started using it. We're not Slack users.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to find a good way. I
Hmm.
mean, thank you. I mean, I didn't want to take a lot of time, and it may have seemed like a weird question, but
No,
it's a
not
big
at all.
problem for me.
Yeah, not at all. No, I hear this all the time from a lot of clients, right? They're always, what's the best system? What's the best platform? What's the best tool, right? And I get where that comes up, the way that question comes from, right? And I just have to keep reiterating is the best tool is the tool you will use. The best system is the best system is the system you will use, right? And I know it's not the answer everyone wants to hear, right? But that's always the hardest part in any partnership is your business, your industry is going to be different from everyone else's, right? Your behavioral patterns, what feels good for you and your brain and your nervous system is going to be different for everyone else, right? And so everyone's going to have to find their way. We will do our best to provide frameworks, example systems, and implementation guides. And that's our goal with these playbooks, right? Is to give those. What tool you guys decide to use for it, entirely up to you, right? I mean, in the perfect world, we would build a software that just makes all of this easier. But of course, as you guys know, software is not easy to build, right? Maybe something that we might look into in the future. But we'll start with at least giving you guys all the frameworks and systems and the way to think about it first and the implementation guide so your EA can do 80% of the work for you guys.
Yeah, you sharing yours made a world of a difference mentally for me. So I did take a couple screenshots that I'm going to share with her just so that I can, for example, not, otherwise, so that we can get back into that. So thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Awesome, guys. I gotta hop. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for hopping on here. Hopefully, this was valuable for you
Thank you.
guys. We will get all the playbooks over into your hands, right? And I'll be doing more of these sessions. Yeah.